Hey guys, how's it going? This is the Stupendous Wave, and in this video we'll be talking about another Jurassic Park / World top 5 list. Now this was not a viewer suggested list, this is just a list I came up with on my own and I thought it would be cool. And that is the top 5 scariest Jurassic Park / World dinosaurs. Now obviously there are a lot of scary dinosaurs in the Jurassic Park / World franchise. And really, every single one of them, except for a lot of the herbivores, could be considered scary. Now, again, this is all just my personal opinion, and scary is very subjective. So, this is what I find scary, you guys might not find scary. So, these are the dinosaurs that personally just freak me out and that I find terrifying. And I have one honorable mention, and that is the Spinosaurus. I just think the Spinosaurus is terrifying. And with that all out of the way, let's go ahead and get started with number 5. So my number 5 pick is the Indominus Rex, the new genetic hybrid that we got in Jurassic World that I've talked about endlessly. So why do I find the Indominus Rex so scary? Number 1, it's the largest, or it has the potential to be the largest dinosaur that we've seen in Jurassic Park / World, or largest carnivore. Of course, the Brachiosaurus, the Apatosaurus tower over it. But the largest theropod that we've seen in Jurassic Park / World. And just its design is kind of creepy. Its ability that it has to change its color, which it gets from the cuttlefish, is very, very creepy to me. Its red eye by far is, in my opinion, the scariest part of the design of this dinosaur. And just that it has all the spikes from the Carnotaurus on its back. And like I said, its color, how its normal color is just white, and then it has those really, really red eyes and the quills on its head. It's just all around a very, very scary dinosaur. Its ability to open its mouth up to 90 degrees, very terrifying. I think it's scary because it's large, fast, intelligent. It just has all the components that would make up a terrifying dinosaur. Again, with the design, it's got those 2 horns on its head, which are pretty scary, and the spikes. Overall, the Indominus Rex is my number 5 pick for scariest dinosaur, or the 5th scariest dinosaur, in my opinion, and I think a lot of you can agree that the Indominus Rex definitely is pretty terrifying. At number 4, I have the classic Velociraptor, and this can also be put in with Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World, and Jurassic Park 3. Not so much the Jurassic World Velociraptors. Yes, they have kind of a scary design, but they kind of took on a different role in that movie. Not that they, like I said, aren't scary. I just think that the raptors in the first 3 films are more terrifying. And again, that's not saying they're better. I just think that overall they're scarier. So, especially in the first film, in my personal opinion. So the reason the Velociraptors are on this list is they're really the OG. They're the originals. They're the original dinosaur that really terrified us. That, along with another dinosaur that I have later on this list. But I just think that the Velociraptors were fast, intelligent, and along with them having a great design, being a scary design, our characters also constantly were illustrating how terrifying these animals are, how smart they are, how they would kill you if they got a hold of you. And I just found that to be really, really terrifying, especially as a kid. The Velociraptors were always really, really cool and my favorite parts of the movies, but they were also, in large part, the scariest part of the movies. Like I said, they're just so fast, so smart, and they'll kill you in just an instant. They'll kill you just like that. And that's why I find them to be very, very scary, and that's why they're my number 4 pick. Again, with the characters constantly talking about how terrifying they are, I think that really has helped them along with being scary. And I think that the Velociraptors, even now, are considered not only one of the scariest dinosaurs of all time, but one of the scariest movie monsters in quotations, in movie history. So that's why they're my number 4. Let's go ahead and move on to number 3. So for my number 3, I kind of cheated a little bit. It's not a dinosaur, it's a flying reptile. And I guess you can kind of categorize the Indominus Rex as not really a dinosaur either. It's more of a Frankenstein creature. But for number 3, I have the Dimorphodon. Again, a flying reptile. And this animal didn't really have a large role in Jurassic World. But with what we saw of it and the design of it, which I think is brilliant, it's extremely terrifying. Along with the Pteranodons, more so the Dimorphodon. I know that doesn't really make sense because the Pteranodons, they're just so much larger and more powerful, but I just think that there's something about the Dimorphodons that's just terrifying. Maybe it's their large heads and their really needle-like teeth that I just find absolutely terrifying. When one of them got on Owen, and we saw, even though the Dimorphodon is pretty small, it kept a full-grown man, Owen Grady, on the ground for a little while until Claire tranquilized it. But yeah, the Dimorphodons, I hope they come back. They're just very, very terrifying, especially in large numbers when they swarm you. That's really one of my biggest fears, is being swarmed by a whole bunch of things from above. Like having birds just attack me from above. That just terrifies me, just that thought. And especially with it being Dimorphodons with large, large teeth that would just sink into your arms and all around you, your legs, you'd really have no chance, and that would be one of the worst ways to die. And that's why I think that the Dimorphodon is just a terrifying animal, and that's why it's on my list. So at number 2, I assume everyone saw this coming to be on the list somewhere, but it's the Dilophosaurus. The Dilophosaurus is very, very scary. I've talked about it before. I think that the sound effects that go along with it are really what add to it being so terrifying. It kind of hoots a little bit, and then when it like screams, that's kind of what I've equated it to, is when it opens up its frill. It's not really a roar, it's more of a scream or a howl, and it's just very, very scary. Just those sound effects are terrifying. Again, the idea that the Dilophosaurus, when it doesn't have its frill out and when it's not attacking you, kind of has a little bit of an innocent look to it. It's still scary as all heck, in my opinion, even if it doesn't have the frill out, but it's still got that innocent kind of look to it. And then when it pops its frill out and it kind of, like I said, howls, it's just so scary. I'm done right there. It's terrifying. And the scene where we got to see it attack Dennis Nedry was really scary, how it shot him in the face with its poison and then it was able to eat him or attack him. That was just so scary, and that's why the Dilophosaurus is one of the most terrifying dinosaurs, in my opinion. In number 2 on my spot, it's just barely outranked by another dinosaur on my list. But the Dilophosaurus, very, very scary. Again, I think that these sound effects go along with it in large part for me, and the fact that it kind of looks a little bit innocent when it's not attacking you, and then when it attacks you, it just goes full on crazy. That's definitely why it's on my list. Also, a little bit disappointed that it's only officially appeared in one film. I know for a dinosaur that's made such a large impact in our world in general, basically, ever since it appeared in Jurassic Park, people know about the Dilophosaurus, and to only see it once is a little bit disappointing, but I have a feeling that in the next 2 Jurassic World films, the likelihood of seeing the Dilophosaurus has increased a lot. I know we got the hologram in Jurassic World, which was also terrifying, but I'm looking forward to most likely seeing this dinosaur on screen again and being terrified all over again. So, with the 4 other picks and an honorable mention out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about my number 1. So, my number 1 most terrifying or scariest dinosaur, in my opinion, is actually one of the smallest as well. It's the Compsognathus, or the Compies. I find these dinosaurs so incredibly terrifying, and I know it kind of goes along with the Dilophosaurus, where when they're all by themselves, there's just 1 or 2 of them. They're not very terrifying, but when they all decide to swarm you, that's just so scary. It's just a terrifying, terrifying dinosaur, in my opinion. And again, with the little girl finding it in the beginning of The Lost World, that was really, really scary, I think. And she decided to feed it, and when there was 1 or 2 of them, she really wasn't that terrified. But then when a whole bunch of them came out, and they took her sandwich away from her, and then proceeded to attack her, even though she lived, it's still really, really scary. They're definite pack hunters, and that's, like I said, something that scares me earlier, just being swarmed. And again, being swarmed by flying reptiles in the air is one thing, but being swarmed by even smaller little dinosaurs on the ground is just terrifying to me. And just being bit all over the place and ripped apart all over the place Very, very scary in my opinion. And we saw in The Lost World exactly what they could do with Dieter Stark getting ripped to pieces by it. Well, we don't actually get to see him ripped to pieces, but we do get to see them all swarm him, and one's biting his lip. They're just biting him all over the place, and they did eventually get him down just by sheer numbers. And being in that situation, personally, that would be one of the worst ways to die in Jurassic Park, I think. Because the other dinosaurs, like the Velociraptor, if they're not going to use you for a trap or something, they're going to cut you open first, like Alan Grant said, and then they'll start to eat you. But I think that even something like that would be a quicker death than being eaten by a ton of compies. They're just so very small and scary. They're going to get you on the ground. They're going to keep you there, and they're all just going to eat you very, very slowly. Where animals like the T-Rex or the Indominus Rex, Spinosaurus, they're going to end you pretty quickly. These dinosaurs are not. They're going to get you down. Not only are you having pain in like one area of your body, but it's literally all over your body when you're just covered in compies and they're just slowly eating you. So terrifying in my opinion. And that is why the compy, while being an unusual pick, is my number one, in my opinion, of course, scariest dinosaur in the Jurassic Park / World franchise. Now, I did only use dinosaurs from the films. That is why you did not see Pteranodon on this list, although that is another scary dinosaur. If you guys haven't played the Telltale Jurassic Park game, or for those of you that have, rather, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They're very scary. So you can kind of consider the Pteranodon an honorable mention as well. But for this list, I only take the dinosaurs that we actually got to see in the films. And there you go. There's my top 5 with, I guess you could say, 2 really honorable mentions. So anyway, leave your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. What are your top 5 scariest Jurassic Park / World dinosaurs? Thank you guys, as always, for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and have a great day.